Hi everyone, this is Louise McFeet-Smith, and I am sorry that I have not been making videos for a while, but I'm back. And the reason I'm back is that I have been getting a lot of impulses to speak from the perspective of Elam, who is my inner being, larger self, a deeper part of myself, a deeper part of my soul, but also part of me. So I am going to give that a shot and see how it goes. Hold on a second. Hello friends. This is Elam, who you have already been introduced to by Louise. We are a different part of Louise. We are a part that lives outside the mind, which is encased within her physical being. All of you have inner beings or larger selves or souls, which encompass more than your physical mind and more than your body and mind normally hold in its perception at any one time. Every one of you can access this part of yourself. However, it does take practice and a dedication and a type of awareness that can take time to develop. The reason that we are here is to help other people broaden their awareness of how they live life and how life can be for them and the scope of what life can entail. Many of you are living lives that are much narrower and very limited in scope in terms of what you experience. Going about any day is very limited to what your mind perceives in a very small section of reality. The reason that we're here is that a lot of you have been asking to have much larger perspectives of what is going on energetically. And when you start to develop that part of yourself, you will discover that life becomes much bigger and more exciting and more unlimited and expansive, because that's what you really are as an energy, as an entity. That is who you really are. You're not limited to what you can see here on Earth. You are so much bigger, and you can draw into your life such bigger and more enjoyable, more joyful, more exciting experiences and creations, and relationships with other people have the potential to be fun-filled and exciting and joyful and move forward in a way that most of you are not experiencing relationships and not experiencing the situations in your life. So that is why we are here, to help you develop that side of yourself that most of you have always felt and always been aware of, but not known how to develop. And we would recommend that the first place you start in opening up your perception to something much larger than what it now is with the concept of death, which you might think is a strange place to start in opening up your life. However, the concept that you now hold of death is very misinformed, and what most of people see as death is as an ending to everything that they perceive. And even if you know there's something more, you're still surrounded with those beliefs that filter somewhat into your own understanding of what death is. And what is amusing to us is that death is actually the opposite. It's an opening of your beliefs and a door that opens to reveal the true nature of who you truly are and the depths of who you truly are. Now, we, of course, are not talking about your physical death. Sorry, we're talking about death, and your physical death will be like that. However, what we're talking about in expanding your perception while you are alive, of course, is not your physical death, because you will no longer experience expanded things in life if you go physically into death. We are talking about your understanding of death in general, and understanding at a very inner core level, at a very visceral level, what death really is. And that is an opening to the world that you have come from, the place that you have come from, the energy that you have come from, that is so much bigger than how you perceive life now. And death is important because that place that you will perceive and exist in after death is the place that you came from before you were born, before you focused yourself into a very specific perception of who you are, which is most of you think right now that you are, maybe you believe that you're an energy housed inside a physical body, which you are not. You're not housed inside, you're not stuck inside this physical body in any way, shape, or form. You have chosen to view life from the perspective of the mind mostly. You are free to come and go and be anywhere else that you want to be at any point in time. However, you've chosen for very, very specific and purposeful reasons to view life from within a physical body, for the most part, for a certain period of time. And so what we would like you to know is you can open up that perception and move with the larger part of who you are while you are also alive. So looking at death and re-understanding it will reconnect you with that part of who you are, were, and are before birth. And that part of who you are, that larger part of yourself, exists now, and you are connected to it now, and you can move to work with it at any point in time. But one of the first steps in doing so is re-understanding this idea that Earth is very limited and encapsulated, and that there is all that there is to interact with is what you see in front of your eyes. Because it isn't until you start working with what you can't see that you can make life bigger than it is now. So the way that we would start Reunderstanding Death is looking at relatives and friends that have passed away and asking for connections with them again. That was an inaccurate way to put it. You already have connections with them, but asking yourself essentially to open up to the perception and the idea and the reality that you can have connections with them again. We would start in meditation. If you meditate, sit down, and when you get into a good space in meditation, ask if you can have a conscious connection with a friend or family member, someone who has passed away. You may not have that connection in meditation. Don't force yourself to try and have that then. It may come later in the day or later in the week or later in the month. You can ask outside of meditation, but the purpose of asking any question is to open up a space in your own energy that allows a place for the answer to land. Asking the question is not asking the gods for anything, because the gods, which we're using that phrase as a joke, the gods do not exist, in the sense that they're not there to provide you with things that you have to earn. When you're asking a question, you're asking yourself to open up the space that the larger energies that exist, which do exist, larger energies do exist, but they don't grant you things on account of your merits. They're always looking to give you guidance and information and help. So asking a question is not really about asking something externally outside of yourself. It's about asking yourself to open up a space within yourself for that answer to land and for that new experience to come into your energy. So asking for that to happen would be the first step. The second step is sitting down and focusing on that space where that can happen. And that can be in meditation, or that can just be sitting in the evening or in the morning at a time when you're allowing either new ideas or new perceptions to come into your space. Anytime that you do that, you will create a movement forward towards yourself. Now, because your mind is on guard at that point in time, you may not perceive anything new at that time. It may come later, and you have to get into space where you're okay with that happening later. And allow that to happen in its own good time, and it will happen if you ask with that purpose and with a focus and with a belief that what you want is going to come to you. That is all for now. We will be back later continuing our series on how to open up your mind to a much more expanded perception of life.